brave men and women to say that if the oppression of Africans is lawful, then such a law is unjust and must be opposed. Today, as our continent is troubled by corruption, leaders who utilize state machinery to sustain their rule at the expense of the poor and the African lives in abject poverty, a question we all ought to ask ourselves is whether the time for the legal profession and the activists to once again stand up for what is right. We must all ask ourselves whether the time has not once again arrived for liberation to be achieved against the sale of our nation to recolonization, and whether this fight must not begin by reimagining our laws for the better. We must therefore reach into this deep history of resistance and solidarity which is shared by our two nations in order to achieve the goal of restoring the humanity of Africa and her people. My brothers and sisters, the humanity of Africa is at the center of what the EFF stands for. We are an organization that was formed in 2013 purely out of the demands of the people of South Africa who wanted an alternative to the former liberation movement to achieve economic freedom in our lifetime. We are an organization which is born out of the blood of slain mine workers in an area known as Marikana, where 34 miners were shot down execution style, and the 13th anniversary of their execution was this month on the 16th of August 2025. Yet the families have not seen any justice. No one has answered for this grave injustice. It is out of this deep pain and disregard for African life that the domestic workers, miners, gardeners, petrol attendants, street dwellers, university students, professionals, and ordinary people of South Africa demanded that we form the economic freedom fighters. We were formed to complete the liberation struggle, which was faced by compromise, betrayal, and corruption of the mission for the return of the land and wealth of South Africa to the hands of the people. As a result, we base our struggle on these lived realities, and we are guided by a scientific ideological outlook of Marxism, Leninism, and the teachings of Frantz Fanon. Fanon, in the context of Africa, becomes most important as we faced with a continent that is becoming more and more dependent on the former colonial master, and our liberation movement abandoned the struggle which led to the formation in favor of